face made for podcasting. Hi, I'm Patrick Coyle, artist in progress, and I suck at setting goals. Like actual achievable goals. So today, we're going to talk about how to set realistic goals for your creative project. I'd like to talk about my experience setting goals and what I consider to be a common sense approach to helping you set yours. While I'm talking today, I'm going to draw. So let's dig in. Today, I'm going to work on my short comic called Biff Cannon and the Atomic Minutemen vs. the Bug Beasts from Beyond. I'm working on a 220 iPad Pro using an Apple Pencil 2 and working in the Infinity Photo app. Neither Apple nor Serif, the makers of Affinity, are sponsors. But hey, if there's interest, give me a call. Now, as I was saying earlier, I've got this idea about a goblin in space, and he's got the vestigial head of his twin sister on his back that can predict the future. He and his crew travel the galaxy in search of the long-lost treasure of Maui Zowie, fighting the evil forces of Draknar and his mutant snail monsters. I think this is a 100-issue comic book opus. It will be my masterpiece. Does that sound familiar? I've heard that from a lot of people starting out. I've even said things like that myself. I mean, before just now. You know what I mean. Do you think most creators make it to issue 100? Not even close. Whether you want to write or draw, or both, a comic, a novel, a movie script, a picture book, a what have you, we all tend to bite off more than we can chew, especially early on. I'm not sure why. But it'd be like if you took a carpentry class and on the first day, the instructor said, "Alright, everybody grab your hammer, we're going to build us a house." So we go outside, we grab some 2x4s and some nails and start whacking at things. And when it starts raining, we run to take shelter in the house that we're building, only to realize that it's just a bunch of 2x4s stuck in the ground with nails sticking out of them and rusting in the rain. And while we're in the emergency room, soaking wet, getting our tetanus shots to combat the infected cuts from the rusty nails, we realize this is capital K crazy. Of course our house was unfinished and shoddily made. We've never built a house before. Luckily, that's not how carpentry classes work. But we dive in head first when it comes to our own creative projects. As I've been talking about this, a theory has occurred to me. That magnum opus, that novel, that 100-issue comic, that film, etc., that's the end goal, down the road, the ultimate goal. That's what we really want to create long term. But I'm going to drop some science on you. If you've never completed a standalone comic, never written a short story, never written or filmed a short film, never done a series of comic strips, you are not ready for the big leagues. And I don't mean like you've created the perfect short project, but you've finished something end to end and understand all that goes into making it. For a comic, that can mean scripting, sketching, thumbnails, penciling, inking, coloring, and lettering. For a short story, it can mean notes, outlining, rough drafts, revisions, etc. You get the idea. It helps to understand the process and the plan for doing it in a longer form, if that is your end goal. Let's take this page I'm working on right now. Here's the thought process that led to this point. First of all, what do I want to make? This, for me, was the easy part. I want to make a comic. The second thing you should ask is why? What will I do with this thing? Now I'm saying thing here because it can be anything. I happen to want to make a comic. You fill the blank with your own thing. I mean, how the heck should I know what you want to make? Keep me out of it. It's none of my business, and I resent you dragging me into it. But asking this question is key. It will help determine the format, the length, your deadlines, etc. It really pays to think about this before you even get to making notes, doodling, or sketching your story. Do I want to publish something? Maybe self-publish, submit to publishers, maybe make a webcomic. Do I want to create a proof of concept of a big idea I have? Do I want to create a portfolio piece? Do I want to work on my finishing skills, creating a piece that's properly done, whatever your definition of that is, rather than just sketching? It could just be, I want to draw giant monsters fighting to see if I can do it. Or it could be, I just want a finished project for myself to say I've done it. Just finishing something can really help your self-confidence and development as an artist. Now that's a lot to think about. So take some time and really think it through. You could save yourself a ton of time later by spending a few days thinking this over. The conclusion I came to in this thought process is, I want to have a portfolio piece to share and get feedback from professionals to see what I need to work on. I want to focus on visual storytelling, and I want like a dry run of creating a full comic from start to finish. And that means plotting, sketching, penciling, inking, coloring, etc. Now it's fine if your thing doesn't have all these parts, but it's good to be specific about the end product. That way you can easily identify if you've completed your goal. Now number 3, what kind of thing will meet these requirements? Okay, so for a portfolio piece focused on visual storytelling that I can use to get feedback, I think an Ashcan comic would be the perfect solution to this. For those of you under the age of 40, an Ashcan comic is a short comic that you can have printed at a local print shop, or even on your own printer, on copy paper, and then folded and stapled. It's a total like punk rock DIY style promo item. Here's one I made about 15 years ago. I didn't draw these, but I wrote or co-wrote the stories. This one even has 2 stories. It's a flip over book. Anyway, I want to create an 8 to 10 page Ashcan that I can hand out at shows once we can go back to shows safely. That way, I have something people can give me feedback on, and a calling card with my info on it if they ever want to get in touch or work together. And it's not too long. So given the time I have to spend on this, which is about an hour a day, sometimes less, and the speed at which I work, which is not fast, I might actually be able to get this done over the summer. Number 4. What idea or concept fits this thing? I have a ton of ideas. But lately I've been sketching this retro sci-fi character, Biff Cannon, that I came up with 25 years ago. No lie, 25 years ago. It's probably a good starter comic for me. Only one person, a few giant bugs, and a couple rockets. No big cityscapes, armies of goblins, etc. It'll allow me to work on my anatomy. And storytelling. In fact, there's no dialogue, so there's an extra emphasis on storytelling. I think this will be perfect. Okay, mixing all that together, we now know the type of thing we're going to create, which is a comic, why we're going to make this thing, to have a portfolio piece that showcases storytelling, drawing skills, and gives me a presence that we got colored in our comic, the format we're creating it for, an 8 to 10 page Ashcan comic, the concept we're using, Biff Cannon, Retro Space Explorer, and then if we add to this a deadline, end of summer 2020, let's call it Labor Day weekend, we have ourselves a goal. Goal!
We ran out of chips.
What? I'm doing the show.
What are you looking at?
This is the show. Talking to the people.
Show can wait. We ran out of chips.
Oh, get out.
How dare you? I want my chips.
I find that for me, thinking about it ahead of time and giving my project some definition and some structure really helps me keep the workload to a manageable amount. Usually. I've been a user experience designer for about 25 years, and the approach that I've described today is more or less the approach that we take to developing a website or a piece of software. It generally leads to success to start with the end goal, figure out what that's going to be, and then work your way back to what the format, theme, and subject matter will be. But I'd love to hear what works for you. Give me a shout down in the comments and let me know how you go about setting your goals, or don't. Let me know what works or doesn't. If you found this video interesting or helpful, perhaps both, consider giving it a thumbs up so other people can find it as well. And if you dig the jive I've been laying down and want to see what I'm going to talk about in the future, hit the old subscribe button there and you can get my future videos. And remember, you don't suck at drawing, you just think you do. And you're wrong. Keep drawing, suckers! I'll see you next time.